Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to see you. Before we get started today, I just have to say, we we had enough of a chuckle that I don't feel like I even need to share some of the stuff that they said today. The gentlemen from When in Rome, the original members of When in Rome, Clive, Farrington, and Andrew Mann are going to be on here in just a second. I really want to welcome the people from Abducted by the 80s Facebook page. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're watching this anywhere else besides YouTube, I would love it very much if you would subscribe at this channel below. Go to youtube.com/allaccesslive with Kevin Rankin. Hit the subscribe button. Not only will you get a chance to watch a recap of this later on, but you can see 162 episodes of All Access Live. Tons of backstage conversations with amazing musicians and actors and visionaries. We've got some really cool guests coming up this next week that you'll be notified about. I've got a wellness specialist, Ken Glenn. We've got the sex symbol, Tawny Katane, on Wednesday. So speaking of sex symbols, I just got to say, my buddies at 5starguitars.com have sponsored this show. 5-Star is based in Beaverton, Oregon. They've got fantastic deals on guitars. And if you go to the link below, 5starguitars.com/allaccesslive, you'll see about 6 pages of amazing products, accessories, guitar cases, strings, everything else, with 15% off if you use the promo code of allaccess15. So go to that page. 5starguitars.com is based in Beaverton, Oregon. There's no sales tax. So you're going to save all that money, and you'll save the 15% by using the promo code. They've got repairs, and they've got lessons from pros like Jennifer Batten. Jennifer, you know, from the Michael Jackson days and her days with Jeff Beck. Now she's doing Guitar Cloud Symposium. So you can get lessons from her and also sign up for her Guitar Cloud Symposium, which is putting on a deep dive session on March 20th. So you can get all sorts of inside scoop on how to get the good gigs. That's happening in March, and then she'll follow that up with her Guitar Cloud Symposium 4-day workshop where you'll get a whole bunch of pros. She's had Steve Vai in the past and Dweezil Zappa. I know that if you're a guitarist, you would not do any better than signing up for Guitar Cloud Symposium. It's affordable, lots of giveaways, and she's a pro. So that is Guitar Cloud Symposium, 5-Star Guitars. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. Abducted by the 80s. Subscribe to the channel. Now, if you want to start your weekend off right, there's no better place to do this. My God, I've already had my laughs of the weekend. My buddies in When in Rome, Clive Farrington and Andrew Mann. How you guys doing?
Hello. How's it going? We're doing good.
Hi, Kevin.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Andrew, you moved your microphone. We had a really special.
I had to.
We want to see it. We want to see it. This new setup that you've got.
Here it comes. Here it is. All right.
Here's the new setup.
Coming in.
There it is.
You know what?
Yeah, leave that there because you were really quiet.
What does that look like?
It looks like a film gone wrong. It looks like the sound guys put the microphone down in the shot.
Oh, it's the boom.
There we go. I had to zoom in on that one. Our sweet friend Claudia, there she is. Claudia from Bonn, Germany. Thank you for being here, hon. Hi,
Claudia.
Oh man,
Hi, Claudia.
You guys haven't met her personally yet, correct?
No.
Okay, well, Clive's going to benefit because she's got a hair salon in Bonn, Germany. So, Clive, when you're looking for that touch-up, then you can go over and
absolutely.
Speaking of,
the last one I had. What about me?
The last one I had was in Paris. The last one I had was in Paris, and it all went wrong. So it's going to go wrong in Germany, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, she brought all of her gear out to London to do my hair when A Flock of Seagulls was there.
Oh wow, cool.
She's a sweetheart.
You don't need to bring much with mine.
Andrew, what's going on with yours, man? You're looking like you're back in the Promise video.
It's getting, well, I don't know. It's all gone a bit haywire, isn't it? There is a good story. It's funny tonight when I was having a shower and I thought, Clive and I have not got a lot to talk about. We just talk about ourselves. But I was in there and I thought, there's got to be a great story that Clive and I have not told. And it came to me and I expected you to say something like, wow, your hair's grown. And I was going to go, it's a syrup. Now, Kevin won't know what a syrup is. Right. Clive knows what a syrup is. A syrup is a Cockney rhyming for a wig, a syrup of figs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, or an Irish jig.
Or an Irish jig.
I would hope if you got yourself a wig, it wouldn't look that bad. But whatever, that's fine.
No. Anyway, so it reminded me of the first time that Clive and I, young fledglings from Manchester, went to California and we went to the record company and afterwards there was a Walmart, I remember, off Sunset, and Clive and I walked in it. And we walked in, and we used to have this silly game that me and him always used to play. And we'd walk past someone we thought had a wig on and shout syrup.
Oh, no.
We used to go, syrup, like that. And Clive would walk off. So that just came about when I was in the shower tonight. So the syrup joke, he didn't go down that well. Even Clive didn't laugh.
Yeah, because he's become Americanized. You know, he's been here. He's
I don't understand those what do you call it, Cockney rhyming slang jokes anymore. I've forgotten about them.
That's Clive, you're here stateside, and Andrew, you're still over in the UK, right?
Yeah.
And they won't let you out.
No, we're in lockdown. Boris says you got a lockdown.
Yeah.
So we listen to Boris.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I heard there's a drop though. Right now, you guys are having a reduction in the virus, and you guys will be allowed out there soon.
God knows.
Yeah,
honestly,
well, I want you to tell me.
I don't listen to the news, Kevin. Honestly,
I don't either.
I do not listen to the news. So you could tell me what's going on in the UK, because I really don't know.
Well, I'm going to tell you
what. I'm not that bothered, because I just know that this country is in a bit of a mess.
Yeah,
like everywhere else, but this is in a real mess.
I think every country has had their ups and downs for sure. Our friends in New Zealand and Australia, they're doing all right. But, you know, I can tell you what's going on in the UK. I know that Mike Score is going to make a break for it. We've got some gigs coming up, and I think they're kind of
okay,
you know, safe distance. But have you guys done any?
Well, you'd always want to be distant from Mike anyway, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah,
so.
There's a little distance between the drum riser and me, but only because he's envious of my hair. That's it, right? So
that's it.
My God, this is fun. There are a lot of people that are huge fans of you guys. Mike May, oh my God, he loves Andrew Mann. Yeah,
hi Michael.
There's I got a lot of questions from people even before we started, and I didn't want to do this as like an interview style because we have so many chuckles. But here's what I want you guys to do. Actually, when you're out there in the chat. Okay, first, Chris Seifert says, "Tell the guys I'm a Manchester boy." But so
hey Chris,
hey Clive, are you Manchester?
South Manchester. Andrew's more Manchester than I am, but I'm.
I'm not. I'm Salford. I'm Salford. I'm North.
Yeah, and of course Salford. They have this little rivalry with Manchester, and we have a rivalry. Yeah. You know, if you say you're from Manchester and you're from South Manchester, you always get somebody jumping in saying you're not a proper Manchester boy. Of course, next door is, right next door to Altrincham, where I'm from, is Wythenshawe, where a lot of musicians came from. Paul Young's Sad Cafe, Morrissey. Is from that area. Billy Duffy, guitarist with The Cult, is from there. Yeah. So there's a lot of, very, very close to where I'm from, where a lot of, but they're classed as Manchester because they're in the right postcode. Oh, but we're only, we can see each other's houses from our houses, but in different postcodes. Different. Yeah, exactly. Manchester water's good.
You know what? Who was it that just said here? David Ramsboden said, he caught your syrup joke. He said, talking about syrups, bro. What are you wearing?
About what am I wearing? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to do your hair up a little bit before we actually have the conversation today or no?
Yeah. No.
All right.
I'm sort of going for the Cavani look, but no,
lockdown locks.
I love it. But honestly, I would bet every person that's of our generation would just give anything to have your locks, man. Look how full and
absolutely.
You've had a lot.
You've just got jealous. You're jealous, the pair of you.
I've been jealous all my life.
This conversation is going nowhere because you're just jealous about my hair, the pair of you.
Clive is jealous of the big black thing hanging down off the ceiling.
Oh, I've got the red one.
You saw? Oh, yes, you do. That's that happens as you get older. You know.
Clive, tell Kevin and the guests what your studio is called.
What the studio's called? A shuttle studio.
Yours. I thought it was Big Knob.
Oh no! That's the mixer that I use, the Big Knob, not the name of the studio.
Yeah, there are going to be.
But I will name it that now. I like it.
There you go. Yeah. Somebody else. I think Ed Sousa says you're both from Brighton. That's not a bad thing to say you're from Brighton, is it?
No, not at all.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Flock of seagulls.
What? No, they're Liverpool.
Flock of seagulls. Right. The team are called the Seagulls.
Brighton and Hove Albion. Ed Sousa supports them.
Ed Sousa's team. Ed Sousa's team.
You actually talked a little bit about the rivalry thing, and you said, you know, that the different areas of Manchester. But I know that the football team, the soccer guys, are huge. Yeah. Like, so between the two of you guys, do you have different teams that you support?
We're both Manchester United.
Okay, Man U.
We're United, but our ex-keyboard player was Manchester City. You see,
that's why you're no longer playing.
That never works.
Never works.
That's the only reason.
That was the reason.
That was it. Yeah,
that was absolutely the reason.
That's what was said in court, Kevin.
You guys heard it here. Like all of the speculation, all of the fighting that you guys thought about. No, it was just that it was because the two different football teams were tearing you guys apart. But Claudia's got a days for your hair. I'm not going to read you guys.
I was just reading Claudia's message.
Yeah, she is amazing. She was in lockdown for 10 weeks, and she said her scissors were unutilized. She brought all of this like sharp stuff to London, like on the plane, and I couldn't believe that she brought it with her. But color. Oh yeah, Chris says he's a fan of United as well. All right, so enough football conversation. I had a couple of other questions for you guys. First of all, when we talked last time, we talked for Abducted by the 80s, and we talked a little bit about you guys' history. I knew Andrew, you're an A&R guy for bands back in the day. But we talked about the difference in favorite music, right? Genres and music that you guys listen to. But or like styles of music, right? So Clive is this, you know, he's sophisticated singer type. I was wondering if you see more of yourself as a and ask both of you guys can answer this question. Pavarotti or Sinatra?
Oh, Sinatra, definitely.
All right.
Sinatra.
All right. Yeah. There's like this debonair, the suave debonair between.
But I mean, Pavarotti, you know, you've got to give it to him. What a voice! Well, you know, you can't say anything bad about that guy. He's got the best voice for the genre that he's in. And but I think Sinatra, as far as the timing of vocals and everything else, wins out.
How about an era between like 70s and 80s?
But both great. Of course, we grew up through the 70s. We were very lucky. We're in that age group where we had a little bit. I had 3 years of the 50s. I had all of the 60s. I had all of the 70s. I've had all of the 80s. So 3 great or 4 great periods of music to be.
Those weren't your choices, though. So I don't get you those. You just get 70s or 80s.
Well, it's got to be 70s because the influences came from there. Roxy music and all the punk stuff came from the 70s, you know, and growing up and watching TV and watching Top of the Pops. 70s is where the avant-garde came from, if you like, and it carried on with the new romantics in the 80s. So we were given a kind of a preview of the 80s in the 70s. So it's got to be the 70s.
How about you, Andrew?
60s.
Yeah,
I think
that wasn't an option.
Yeah. He's older than me.
That wasn't an option, though, my friend.
That's what it was. I was.
You got to pick 70s or 80s.
I'm going 60s.
Oh,
no, 80s.
There's no rules.
I think Clive hit the nail on the head. 70s.
Yeah.
It's maybe because we were young and crazy then. You know, we would go to youth clubs at 15, 16, smoking and drinking and dancing all night. And, I would say that's why we probably favor the 70s.
I get it. As you guys see, there are more generations that come out and see us all play now. Isn't it weird to see teenagers that really gravitate? I mean, of course, you've got the introduction with like Napoleon Dynamite with The Promise, which brought in a generation of people too. But it seems like a lot of teens are really into the 80s thing now.
Yeah.
So I know for me, like my youngest is really into 60s stuff. Huge Beatles fan, but he's really gotten into The Who. And, there are a lot of bands like that. Do you see that more youth? Because I know, Clive, you've got your daughter who I'm sure she loves her father's music, but was she into older stuff as well?
Yeah, but, only really through me. I remember she did a singing competition once, and she sang Wow by Kate Bush. And the judges said, how do you know that song? How a girl of your age know Kate Bush? And she says, my dad's a fan, because I'm a massive Kate Bush fan, of course. Oh, yeah. And she sang and Saskia sang the song really, really well. But, it was a bit strange coming from a young girl that wouldn't have grown up with Kate Bush to be singing that song. But, yeah, she appreciates all of that stuff. But, I'm in that position where when I jump in the car with her and she puts the stuff that she likes on, it's not really what I have to ask her what makes you like this stuff, you know, because the lyrics in some of the stuff that she listens to is a little bit close to the bone and stuff. But yeah, but I do appreciate
you old Tory.
Well, no, but it's sometimes a little. But I'm thinking, Saskia, why are you listening to that? You know, it's a bit weird.
But don't you think our generation, our parents were like that when we put on Never Mind the Bollocks in the bedroom? Well, you know what I mean? And
it's a bit different to WIA, whatever they call it, PW WAP.
Right, yeah.
It's a little bit different to that, you know. But you know, I'm not knocking that kind of stuff, but. 1975 Blossoms, all these new bands have got 80s sound, you know. Right. Saskia's into the 1975, she's into Blossoms, she's seen them loads of times live, and they've really cottoned on to the 80s sound and really get, you know. And I was waiting for that to happen. It was an accident waiting to happen, and I'm waiting for a band to come along that's a bit like Kraftwerk as well, that's got the real sus and but you know, it's not happened since the 70s. I think maybe it's because they were so big. It's pretty hard act to follow, but you know, you'd imagine that there would. I'm sure there are bands out there that kind of following in their footsteps, where it's more clinical. They look more clinical, and you know, the videos are fantastic and everything else. But I'm sure that's to come. Andrew's going to start that band, I'm sure.
Kayvon's saying hello to you both anyway.
Oh yes. How you doing, Kayvon?
Our friends that may not have seen yesterday's episode, I had the illustrious Kayvon Zahedi yesterday on my show. We started things off with a little clip of him interviewing Judas Priest off the bus, and then we got deep, we got vulnerable. We talked about, you know, Kayvon's history and you know, people he's interacted with, people that were cool, people that were not so cool out on the road, and so we decided that Kayvon's gonna resurrect Kayvon TV. He's gonna bring it back, start doing a Zoom thing.
Well, that's going to be fantastic, because I think I spoke to you. Well, I did just before we came on air just now about this guy called Dennis Pennis, who used to do very much the same thing. Andrew knows him. He's an actor called Paul Kay, and he's in a lot of stuff as well. He's a great actor, but he used to his alter ego was a guy called Dennis Pennis, and he'd go to like Hollywood on the red carpet to the Oscars, and he'd just wait in the crowd for all the actors to come along the red carpet, and he'd ask them the most stupid question, like, "What were you doing yesterday? When I saw you doing the gardening yesterday? What you know?" It's fantastic, and some people just took it the wrong way as well. He got a few people that
he did a good one on Mick Hucknall once, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but I saw the Tom Cruise one.
I can't remember what the punchline was, but it made me laugh. I remember.
Yeah.
It's amazing to get the access to people like that. You know, you mentioned Tom Cruise, and like Kayvon's interviewed pretty much everybody on the planet, it seems to me. And some of them don't know ahead of time what he's going to be, you know, and a lot of times he does those questions. Like you said, there may be mundane questions to ask someone, but they are, you know, it's unique to find out about the stars and, you know, what they might've been gardening. Right. But it's Kayvon's intensity that really sells it. Right. So, Mr. Clive Farrington, I got to ask you, we did that for an hour or so yesterday, and I was so exhausted last night.
I bet.
And I asked him, how do you wind down? And we couldn't get there. Honestly, even spinning about that took about 15 minutes. But I was thinking
you should have locked him in the fridge, Kevin.
Yeah.
They won't calm you down, won't it, Kayvon?
They won't let us in the same country right now. So but okay, so Kayvon's sort of known as like super fan. I was thinking about fan experiences. I know that you guys are both taken men, so you may have to be cautious about how you answer these questions, but I want to know about your craziest fan experience way back in the day. Andrew, you start. Yeah, take a drink first.
I didn't even get a chance then, did I? Oh, no, go over to Clive. I'll get a good one.
All right.
Fan experience. We were one of the. I mean, the point is this: we had one hit record. You know, we're not like Duran Duran who had 20,000 hit records, and the car gets turned over at airports.
No, we nearly got the car
in Brazil. We did it in Brazil. It was just a one-off, and I thought, here we go. Here's the Beatles thing. Let's get you know. And but you know, and it was. I'm sure it was just fans that had just got a little bit overexcited, and they'd not had. I don't, you know, about South America back in the 70s. pop shows and pop bands were banned for a while because they caused so much trouble. The authorities were so tired of cleaning up the mess after a pop concert or the trouble that was caused at a pop concert. They were banned for about 5 or 6 years. And Brazil had not had the last band that they'd had there was Genesis, I think. And it was about 20 years before they'd had any kind of interaction with fans and bands and stuff. So, of course, they went pretty crazy. And I don't think it would have mattered who we were. I think they were just happy that there was somebody actually touring again over there. So, we did that. There is a great one, though, where this is, I guess it is a fan thing as well. We were in Brazil, we were playing this club, and we played some pretty outrageous places over there. We were kind of driven into the wild and stuff, into these little places that were just in the middle of nowhere, and we didn't even know who we were playing.
We went up in the favelas, didn't we?
Yeah, we played up in the favelas, and I mean, I guess you could call it dodgy places, but if you're a band, you're treated a little bit different than you're in the normal, so that everybody accepted us really well. So we get in this club and we're doing the sound check. And just before, because they'd not had bands before, they didn't know how the crowd were going to react. So just before the crowd were let in, military comes in. So we're doing the sound check, and military walks to the front of the stage, march to the front of the stage, turn round. They're all got helmets on and the guns and everything. So put the guns up in the air in front of the stage. Andrew grabs the drumsticks off our drummer and starts playing on the helmets of these fellas, of the military guys. There's something going on. That thing is right on. And these guys, honestly, they didn't flinch. They were just just stood there. Yeah, they didn't flinch. Nobody turned. They didn't turn round. They didn't.
Were they there for security for you, for your sound
Absolutely,
check?
yeah.
For the crowd.
Yeah, to stop the crowd rushing the stage.
Right during sound check.
They basically faced the audience, so the backs were to us.
Yeah.
So I took umbrage, and I grabbed a few drumsticks, and I just went and did a drum roll on all the helmets all the way around.
You had a real drummer back then?
We would have.
We did it. I think it was a percussion player that we had actually hired over there in Brazil. Okay. So so Andrew just out of the blue just pulls his sticks out.
God, I want to see that one of the next Lost 80s shows, man. I think that's a good one.
Oh, that's absolutely. But Rob won't let him have the drumsticks, will he?
Oh, that's true. You're gonna have to bring your own.
He'll get sick. No, you can't have me sticks.
You'll have to bring real sticks with you.
Yeah.
What was your favorite venue from those Lost 80s tours?
The Greek, I bet, wasn't it? Was it yours?
Yeah. The Greek.
Man, the Greek. And the one in Colorado as well, the one that was in a kind of amphitheater. We always like playing the amphitheaters because it brings us back to our roots, our Roman roots.
You want to know an embarrassing moment? The Colorado one, that was Fiddler's Green.
And yes.
Fiddler's Green.
You guys probably don't know this, but I'm a little bit of a sweater. So
I know.
Yeah.
Listen, Kevin, we've hugged you many times.
I know.
So we know that you are like a water globule walking sometimes.
It's so sad. We were doing all those shows with the Tubes, remember? And so Prairie Prince, a huge fan of his drumming. He's a legend. Any drummers out there know that he's a legend. We did sound check in Fiddler's Green in Denver, and it was so hot and humid.
Yeah.
So we did our sound check, and I came off pouring wet, and I said, "Hey, man, if you can, Prairie, get yourself a fan before you go out there and sound check. Even at sound check, it's so hot." And he goes, "Man, the only time I'm sweaty on this entire tour is when you come up and hug me." And I was like, that's not the memory I want for people. That's what people know. So and nobody can do that now with COVID, right? No hugs. It sucks.
I had a conversation with Fee Waybill similar to that. And I said to him that when the Tubes toured Manchester on the White Punks on Dope tour, I said, "Is that where you fell off stage and broke your ankle?" And he went, "Yeah." He says, "And I lived in Manchester for 6 months because I couldn't move my leg." And he says, "And I just sat in front of a TV." He goes, "I never saw any of Manchester. I just sat in front of a TV for 6 months, then got on a plane, went back to America."
What a drag.
But he was such a cool guy, wasn't he?
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Did you guys were there bands like that you guys toured with back in the 90s?
No, never toured with the Tubes. I mean, the Tubes would have been a great one to tour with, but luckily or unluckily, we were not very successful in Europe or the UK. It was more in USA and Philippines and South America. So of course we were 5,000 miles away when all the fun was going on. But apart, we were actually here when the record went to #1 in the dance chart. We were having dinner with the dance, the head of dance at Virgin Records, and she stood up and Johnny H. Jazz were with us as well, and she stood up to give a toast, and I thought Johnny H. Jazz are going to win something. They've obviously won something. So she stood up and she says, when in Rome, you've just gone to #1 on the dance chart with The Promise. So we were actually in America when that happened, but we were out of America when it was a success again with Napoleon Dynamite. We were back in the UK, and I was actually working in what you would call a proper job at the time. Working at a hotel, and was there at the hotel till 2010 with everybody at the hotel saying, wait a minute, you've got a hit record that's gone off again in America because it was used in a movie, and you're still working at the hotel. And I said, I don't, I can't explain. It's a long story, as I had to say.
Man, well, it's one thing to maybe have these experiences where you've, consider yourself sort of a one-hit success, but you've really had a double dose of it, right? When they re-released the song and it came back out again. And how many bands out there really even get that kind of commercial success once, right? I mean, really, the odds are so stacked against it, but.
Absolutely. And the people that have covered it as well, the amount of people that have covered it, Sturgill Simpson's covered it, which was, it's on the album that was nominated for a Grammy. So we kind of got a Grammy nearly got a Grammy by default, and it's an honor that people like the song enough to be able to cover it and stuff.
Yeah, it is a brilliant song. One of those songs that you hear like the first two notes. I mentioned in the setup for this that the first couple of notes on the piano just boom, it hits you.
Andrew's piano line.
That's you. Yeah. Well, I know that whenever I see you,
I came up with that in the shower when I was thinking about stirrups, about wigs.
Yeah, but it's pretty awesome to see. I mean, I would imagine that a lot of people in the chat here have seen you guys live, but as soon as that starts, right, there's all this energy anyway. You guys have a really dynamic, energetic show, and you're interacting with the crowd a lot and interacting with each other a lot, which is really cool. But man, when that song comes on, it's just like, the Beatles are playing, man. It's really cool to see the place just go nuts.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, man, I love it. I mean, as a lot of times I'm right out front. When we play, I'm out front.
Wait, see you. Absolutely. It's brilliant. I remember in Houston that when the stage was going round, I couldn't wait for it to come round again so you could see your smiley face. It's brilliant, mate.
And that way
he was also using you as a marker.
Oh, of course he was.
You've done a whole lap. You've done a whole lap.
I counted. You got your steps in.
Don't take all the credit there.
You could see the look in his face, thinking, "Lazy bastards."
No, there was actually a point on that show because we were going in the circle that I threw the sticks out to somebody in the crowd, and they threw it back, and I got it.
Somebody else got them at the other end.
I was so proud though that I didn't hit somebody in the head because that's happened before, as you know too.
I bet.
When you were touring the States, did you have any bands that you toured with that you thought, "Oh man, this is the greatest time ever. This is the experience is out with these guys," or
Andrew?
When we first did a promo out there, we toured with Inner City, and that was a great experience. Kevin Sanderson and the girl, I can't remember her name now. I think it was Paula or something like that. And what a lovely, lovely couple, And we played in New York.
We played New York. We played the Tunnel Club in New York. I remember being in that tunnel. We run a kind of a double date thing with them. They opened one time, of course, in New York. They opened because that was their kind of. They're from Detroit, but New York was the closest to them. They had a big fan base on the East Coast. And then we'd open for them. They'd open for us on the West Coast where we were a little bit more successful. But Inner City had that big, same as really, they had that Good Life, which was their biggest record. Good life, good life, good life, good. Great tune. Yeah. And of course, they were in the same kind of, on the same label on Virgin Records. I've just noticed Kayvon has put the story about Daryl Hannah. He mentioned that. Did I mention that on the last interview where I was when the film Napoleon Dynamite came out in 2004? Of course, we're back in the UK. We don't really know how well it's doing and stuff. So I'm just randomly watching television in bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's flicking through channels, and MTV Film Awards comes on. And as soon as I'd switched it on, Daryl Hannah comes running onto the stage and she says, "Forgive me, I'm out of breath shouting for Napoleon Dynamite to win the MTV Film of the Year awards." And then it went on to win, of course. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, our song's in that movie, and obviously then we start thinking about how Andrew and I can get in touch with whoever it is that's, unfortunately they took the easy route, and they found our ex keyboard player who was living in America. They contacted him straight away, and of course we were not on good terms at that point, and he kind of formed his own band and went on tour. So we were kind of 5,000 miles away when all the success was happening with the movie. So it was quite frustrating to see all that success going on, and we were kind of left. Well, you can't cry about it. I'm not crying about it, but it is a thing to see. When you can't really reach it.
Right.
5,000 miles away, but. Everything turned out for the best. We're back and with a brand new name, and we'd look forward rather than backwards. And I think sometimes Kayvon likes to ask the question, about our ex-members and stuff like that, which is great. Kayvon, you've got
Clive,
right
when am I finally going to get my limited edition copy, Amazing Across the Blue Ocean CD, and the promo poster? And he's put in brackets, and I still love Michael.
Well, we do. We love him as well. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna have the chat overlay here so that we can all see this. But you know what? I got to tell you, it's been really cool to see that. Here, let me find the best way to show us here. Over the course of any band's tenure, there's turmoil, there's some tumultuous times, and I think you talked about like sort of looking forward and being able to, take advantage of the great opportunities you have. I mean, you've been around the world again as a resurgence, a lot of people that have never gotten to see When in Rome from back in the day get an opportunity to see you. And the really cool thing about it is that when we finish a show, and if you guys haven't seen this is one thing that's going to blow you away about Clive and Andrew. After every show, it doesn't matter how big or how small, after every show, I've seen you guys sit for over an hour signing every autograph, taking a picture with everybody there. I don't see you taking it for granted at all that you've got an opportunity to play and to have these people that are supporting you this much later, right? So, did you kind of look at maybe the past, the history of the music and think, not a lot of people get a second shot, right? But for us, I mean, for the 80s to go out and do this, I pinch myself every time we walk on stage, because
absolutely.
I mean, I think the three of us are very fortunate that some of those gigs we played, you really do have to pinch yourself, and you walk out and there's 23,000 people or 15,000 people. It's such a buzz, isn't it? And it's just the thing is, and I'm sure you feel the same, is Clive and I always go, God, I wish we had like half an hour or 40 minutes or something,
Yeah, to do a full set, to show the song, to show the others. Well, that's where Canada comes in, and Ed Sousa really allows us to kind of show our wares off. And when we played that the intimate gig with them, and Kayvon was there dancing at the front. Thank you, Kayvon. He's always great to be at a show.
He was naked.
Always.
It was such an embarrassment. We had to keep throwing things over him.
Yeah,
he was naked dancing.
Cold water.
Tell me your favorite Kayvon moment.
You said it yesterday at when we were having the meal with him at that place after the gig.
No, I thought that was a bit cruel. But
it wasn't cruel at all. He took it with a pinch of salt. He's a good man. He knows.
He went crazy. He ran out of the building. The man ran out.
Of course he did. Yeah, but all good.
When he got a bill for $7,000.
I'm glad he's here because Ed was mentioning yesterday that they're still holding that tab for him. So when he gets back.
Nobody can go in there until he's paid that tab, so we might have to help him out a little bit.
They've got a picture of him on the wall.
We're gonna have a benefit concert just to be able to get back into the restaurant. But I love that there are a lot of Canadians here too. The with Ed and his ability to bring the band back. So folks, if you're out there and you don't know who Ed Sousa is, he's this incredible businessman who's wonderful, supportive in the music. He does all this charity work. He loves music. And so he brought bands in to do these concerts in support of Ronald McDonald House. But he also somehow finds a way to take care of the bands and the patrons and the charities equally, so that we all feel like rock stars, right? And I think I love the idea that once the pandemic opens up and we can all get back up there, he's got ideas for the small intimate concerts that we do, plus some of the bigger ones. I love that he has those quiet rooms, right? So there might be 100 people that have a sitting table, kind of like a socially distant show, right? But he was ahead of the game on the socially distant shows. But he
absolutely,
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Let me. Do you find that maybe those smaller shows where you're able to connect with people right up front are more sort of intimate and connected, or do you like the bigger arena shows?
No, I think for sound wise, the smaller shows are much better because you've got a little bit more control over the sound and stuff, because the sound is always controlled from somewhere different than right at from a mile away up in the middle of the back of the auditorium. You know, the guy's right there, so you can look at him and say, listen, can we have the vocals up a little bit, or we can have a little bit more reverb or whatever on the vocal, and push the tracks. You know, you can actually control it a little bit more. So, you know, you go through the first few numbers, and by the third or fourth number the sound gets better and better. And I think that show, really, for us, it was a great, because we don't really rehearse, you know. I mean, of course, now we've not been rehearsing since for over a year, and we don't really rehearse before the shows. We all rehearse separately. I'll go for a walk with the headphones on and listen to the backing tracks, and Andrew does the same. I'm sure he does. So we don't rehearse. So it was a great moment that time when Andrew and I got on stage to actually prove that what we were doing and how we were rehearsing worked, because you know, I think that show kind of showed our vocals off more than the bigger shows, because sometimes, you know, the weirdest thing is when you watch it's not weird, it's just very strange to watch your videos back from a show that's somebody's taken from a camera, and somebody might be singing along to it that might be slightly out of tune, and it makes us sound a little bit out of tune. Well, we might be, you know. I'm not saying that we're not always in tune. Let's put it that. You know, I'm not saying that we're the most perfect singers in the world, but you know, when somebody's filming something with a camera and somebody near them or by them is singing along with it, and they're slightly out with it, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, that do it sound like that? But intimate shows, you've got, you know, you can actually hear yourself and you can hear the monitoring, and that's why I've now got the in-ears. I've got the Ultimate Ears Live, which have got the ambient things in as well, so I can hear what's going on as well as hearing the monitoring. I'm trying to persuade Andrew to get them, because as soon as you start hearing your voice above the music, it kind of makes you work on the vocal a little bit more, and you know when you've just gone slightly out. And
it's a game changer. It really is.
It is.
I hate doing gigs without in-ears now, but it spoils you once you get there.
Well, you see some really very, very, very good singers on live shows that sound pretty out of tune because they're not hearing themselves, you know, and they've not. I mean, this was way. I mean, of course, now in-ears have only really been available for what 20 years or something like that. So prior to that, you know, the people were not really hearing themselves properly, and when you can't, you know, your head can't decipher what the bass is playing and the guitar's playing all together. You know, they might be playing a semitone different to the other stuff. You know, there's all sorts of things going on. If you can't hear your vocals clearly you're going to go out a little bit.
You know, Bobby Kimball from Toto, poor Bobby. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's a video out there of him with that happening. He's doing Africa, and it sounds like he's making fun of it. You know, it sounds like
absolutely
you're drunken karaoke, and he apologizes in the thread. You know, are there any embarrassing moments like that out there that somebody captured on YouTube that you guys think, oh, I wish I could take that back? Or
all of them.
How about it's just some embarrassing moments on stage that?
Well, just going back to the Bobby Kimball thing, I was having breakfast with Roger Beltran Russell in Mexico. I was playing out in Mexico, and it was the day after I'd seen that video, and I said, "Did you see that video of Bobby?" And his manager called called Roger. Bobby's manager called Roger and was talking about some gigs coming up in Mexico and stuff. And it says, I watched that video yesterday. It's a real shame. It's not anything to do with you. You obviously couldn't hear what was going on and whatever. I says, and I recommended the in-ears to him. So hopefully, Bobby's now got some in-ears, and I think it really is essential. Expensive, but essential. It's worth every dollar, But as far as Andrew, embarrassing moments.
Beauty. I'll never forget this one. We were playing Boston on a Sunday night, and we did a sound check in this club, and it was pitch black out the front, and we did the sound check, and I always sort of look around the stage because I do run around a bit. I used to run around quite a lot then, a lot more than I do now. But
in cycling shorts,
with the cycling shorts, probably they would have been. I don't know, Boston, cold.
Oh yeah, you had your red socks on, or your white
can't
socks.
come on stage and the nuts are frozen.
Yeah.
You can't come on stage looking like that. So maybe the shorts not. But we did the sound check, went back to the hotel, came back in Sunday night, pissing down with rain in Boston. Couldn't see what was out the front, and I went to the front of the stage and jumped off, and it was about 12-foot drop.
Oh shit.
And I landed, and there was no one in the audience. There's about 4 people.
Oh, no.
We couldn't see a thing. And I come to get back on stage, putting my hand up like that, and Clive was stamping on my fingers, thinking it was someone trying to get on the stage. Total spinal tap.
Oh my God. That was pre YouTube, huh?
Yeah, get off stage. Get off.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
My God, man.
But I tell you what, my leg when I landed, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
you can't really show it.
We'd all break hips if we did that now.
I think we're more aware of it now that we know that people, everybody gets, especially when we played The Promise, of course, everybody's camera comes out. So,
right.
Of course, you don't really think about it, but of course, you're more aware of the fact that that's going to go up on YouTube, and you've got to be careful what you say and what you do and how you do it. And
I've noticed you've stopped taking your trousers off in the middle.
Yeah. That was a bad decision.
Well,
I've learned.
You've learned. Well, thank God for that. There was always a bit of censorship at that part of the video.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very difficult for the video editor to follow it, wasn't it?
It's a good job that there was no voiceovers on the people that were recording you at that stage. Is
it? These shows. I mean, I don't know about you guys, and you'll laugh. Obviously, I'm a portly guy. I've talked to a bunch of the other members that we've had on tour where, for me, sometimes the venues are more memorable because of the catering than the venue itself.
Oh, absolutely.
I noticed you weren't shy at the bar there, Kevin.
Yeah.
You weren't shy. You weren't shy when the food was rolling out.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a crutch of mine, man, for sure. But are there any venues? Because you talked about Fiddler's Green in Denver. I remember that place and a couple of others. They really tried to make it like a hometown cooked meal. As if you're back. I love that. Better
absolutely
than pizza or
Wild Horse Pass Casino. That's a great one. Remember, the food there is fantastic.
That's right.
Always fantastic.
And
they have a fish course, meat course, vegetarian course, vegan course. They got all that.
This has turned into 3 fat blokes talking about food.
You know what? Though here's the thing, man. If because people might, they think about like the debauchery that happens backstage, but really the things you look forward to. If you've got any kind of rider at all, or there's one special drink or one food that you love, it's awesome to be able to get back there and see, oh, they actually do care, right? It's kind of nice.
Absolutely.
The comforts of home, especially if you've been driving. You guys have the greatest time anyway, like leading up to the gig. You guys with your, you'll find the radio stations and then just sing along to them on Facebook. And it's unbelievable.
When we were driving, we tried to hook on to every state we came in to try to hook onto the country and western station, and
even if you didn't know the songs, just mouth into words.
No, we just sort of it was actually quite Laurel and Hardy.
Yes, it was.
It was that sort of comedy, I think.
Eccles
and what it turned into it. I mean, we just did it for a laugh because I can remember demos that Clive used to send me.
You used to send him back.
He'd say the first word, and then he'd go into Le jardin Ponzélian, Babadon de devant, ajouté.
I'd sing them in French.
Piki piki bombi bon, and I'd like
because I couldn't think of the lyrics. I'd have to sing them in a different language, in French. Can't speak French, but it sounded a little bit like.
I was really impressive, actually. Just the inflection there.
That was fantastic. That was better than the one I did.
Yeah. So maybe you guys should release a French version of The Promise. What do you think?
Well, in fact, that's how we got the melody. Was your son for you? That's how the melody got. Fish and chips.
Boy, so many revelations here. This is great. I've known you guys this long, and I'm just finding these things out. This is awesome. Do you guys?
My microphone's playing up tonight, boys.
That's a microphone. I didn't realize that was a microphone. Sorry, I thought you were on the set for that video shoot.
The film. We're on that film.
You're gonna have to sack your sound guy.
Speaking of like side gigs, little side hustles, like what are you doing right now to pass the time, Andrew? Since you're in lockdown in the UK.
Well, I've just started amazingly after 12 months, getting back to work in casting, which has changed very much so with what's going on at the moment.
Right.
That is annoying me now.
I did a bit of clear.
I did a bit of furniture restoration.
Okay.
For a while last year. That was all right. Didn't sell anything. I just kept buying it and messing it up, but it was fun to do. And I bought an electric bike last year, which is an off-road electric bike. So I've been doing like a bit of off-road scrambling on it and stuff. But I've come off a few times. I did my leg in a bit, and then I went through a load of gorse bushes. That was fun. Just ripped the other leg up. But that's those sort of things. Trying to keep fit and fat at the same time.
For the casting, are you doing? Film, TV, actor, theater?
Commercials for TV.
Yeah. Kayvon, are you still there?
Kayvon will be sending me rude pictures of himself.
Believe me, I've seen plenty of those. And and Clive, you're working the studio quite a bit on your stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, luckily, I'm a gadget person that loves gadgets and stuff.
Mr. Gadget.
So I just it's weird because we've only really caught up after 30 years with what Andrew's got there now. He's got the setup now. I sent him the setup by post so that he's able to put vocals down and stuff. And we didn't even think of it for 35 years. 35 years ago, we sent, for instance, The Promise was sent down by a cassette, and it took about a week and a half to get to him. And it had the first verse and the chorus on it. And of course, he wrote the second verse for it after he'd received the tape. But now, of course, we didn't even think about it. How obvious is it now that we can actually just do it instantly? So I can send him
The hard thing will start is me trying to get my head around technophobe.
Well, it's the technical stuff. It's very, once you've done it, though. It's one of those things that once you've got into that and want to start doing all the things like making sure, I sent him the Focusrite Scarlett audio interface, which allows him obviously to plug into his USB port, and he can plug them up. Kevin, he's obviously. There you go. Sponsored.
Kevin's sponsoring.
Kevin's sponsored by him. Microphone sponsored by him.
I do want to thank Audix Microphones for their wonderful microphones made right here in Wilsonville, Oregon. No sales tax. Go to audixusa.com. Thank you.
Yeah, and they're much better than this Telefunken and that pre-Sonos that he's got.
I was thinking about like all this time we have off, but do you guys take vacations ever?
No one's allowed, Kevin.
I'm not talking about during COVID, but not during COVID. But I'm just thinking about like when you guys have time off. What's the perfect vacation for you, Clive?
That we went on my last time really away was on my honeymoon, and we drove up the coast, and that is definitely the perfect holiday to have.
Pacific Coast, US,
all the way up to your country, mate, all the way into Oregon, and we stayed in a tree house in Oregon. Once we'd got to Oregon, we went up 40 foot up in the air in a tree house and stayed there for the whole weekend, and there was zip line things going on and everything else, and it's just fantastic. Yeah, I'm saying that was in a dream, but no, I don't think because
that's his next album.
I don't fancy the idea of smacking into a. But of course, the zip lines are well sorted now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure when they were testing them, they were bumping into trees and all sorts. So I'm a bit wary of all that. But it was great holiday. And driving back and visiting we stopped at every bit. And the beauty of the internet now is if you've got your phone, you know, you can be not, you know, you don't need to know where you're up to or where you're going. And that was how we did it. We stayed at you've played there a couple of times. I'm sure you have, the Madonna Inn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't been there, but I've been there. Yeah.
Oh, the Madonna's, you know, and we stayed in what's known as the Solvang room, which was all not Danish and everything else. And then on our way back, the last place that we stopped at was
the porno room.
Well, no. The last place that we stopped at was Solvang on the way back. So it was just a great experience. And we're going to do that again once we can start getting out and about again. Drive up the coast, and there's a beautiful place called I think it's the Beachcomber or something like that, right on the beach, and it's just beautiful. All those places, all the way up, and Vichy Springs as well. We went there, and they've got all the sulfur baths, and it comes from 3,000 feet down in the ground. This water bubbles up. And,
you could be a tour guide for that area.
Yeah, you know, I'm auditioning.
You appreciate the places you're going to, and it sounds like nature is a big thing for you.
We've got the. Sorry, I'm actually.
Sorry, Clive.
Go on.
Didn't we play there though? Didn't we play somewhere similar last show? We played
Solvang. We played the Solvang just up the road. Yeah.
Casino. Solvang that city was amazing. That little town.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Bonkers place.
Yeah.
It's like a film set. Isn't
it is. Yeah. Tell me about your vacation spot, Andrew. Where's the dream vacation?
I know the last few years, sort of before lockdown, I started going to Morocco quite a lot. And I really enjoyed it. It's still quite sort of rugged, and it's, you know, not for the faint-hearted. It's not like going to. It's dirty, you know. It's dirty and it's dusty, and but I found it quite nice. And then I visited this amazing hotel, which is, I think it's called like the Fontainebleau, in the town centre in Essaouira, which is it looks like something out of Star Wars, you know. The castle perimeter has been there millions of years or something, and you'll go in through the gates to this like madness of this market, and it's just crazy. And there's a guy there with a full shark on the table, just cutting slices off and selling it. Wow. And it's just like, you're like, whoa, this is crazy. But I sort of really enjoyed the sort of ruggedness and of the place. And I'd like to go back there.
Well received when you go there?
Absolutely, yeah. Just really friendly. I think the booze crowd of Britain hadn't been there yet, you know.
Yeah.
So it was still quite respectable. You know, obviously a Muslim country you can't drink, but there was loads of places you can drink. You know, it's not.
You give the game away now.
Yeah, everybody's flocking to Morocco.
That's it. Everyone's off there now.
Yeah, I always wondered.
What about you, Kevin? What about you?
Well, there are some places that I really want to go that I haven't been. You know, like bucket list places. I've always wanted to do Machu Picchu. I was hoping if we go to South America, you know, that I'd like to do it. You know, I was just in Mexico a few weeks ago, and I have a friend, Mike May here, who brought me down there. And Mexico is not the first place that I would go to for vacation. Our friend Roger Bertrand Russell, as you know, he's booked us down there before. Beautiful, wonderful people. This time in particular, man, I was in Mazatlan and I saw the greatest sunsets and sunrises I've ever seen.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah, I think you posted a couple. They were beautiful.
A lot.
Yeah,
that to me was it was a spiritual getaway. You know, I mean, I don't mean to sound lofty, but it was so good for my head and heart, especially after the pandemic. You know, just to be able to go watch waves. I sat and watched waves for so many hours, and it just disappeared. But I love you know, like Turks and Caicos. It was amazing when we did the '80s cruise. You know, and
there's something really magnetic about the ocean, being by the ocean, and the power of it. I sort of excuse me. I sort of moved from here to Devon, which is the coast in the UK, and I've got a place there, and I'm 3 miles to the sea, and sometimes I walk my dog there at night when it's just going dusk, and it can be tranquil, really flat, or it can be really powerful. And it's just amazing. And the smell of it, the salt and the smell is like, wow, fantastic.
It's amazing. Yeah, you can't explain it. those are the things that stick with me. You know, if you think about the smell of the ocean, anytime I think about it, I get goosebumps. I'm in the woods a lot. Actually, I go to the forest with my dog almost every day.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have this
What's he called again? He's brilliant.
Edgar Allan Pug.
Edgar Allan Pug.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
But we had a crazy ice storm here a couple weeks ago. Like just we had freezing rain, it stuck on the trees. Then we had snow, and then more freezing rain. So it decimated a lot of the trees around here. I had trees like everywhere at my house, and if you go out to the forest where I'm at, I mean, sometimes I'll shoot a little video of Edgar out there in the woods, but it looks like a bomb went off. All the trees, every third tree is down, and they break in half.
Wow,
the limbs are so heavy from the ice. But anyway, I love that smell of the forest. If I can cedar trees, and I could just get out in the woods. There are places in England that just rocked my world, man. When I first went to Bath, and I just said, I need to be here. This felt like home to me, you know. But,
you like Bath?
I mean, this many years ago, I went there in '89 the first time, and I knew Peter Gabriel was there with the studio, and I just I stayed in some hostels there and fell in love with it.
Yeah,
but
I bet you got drunk on the local cider as well, didn't you?
You
used to drink
then. I had a window of my drinking days that almost all of my crazy partying was done in Canada. That was the place I would go.
Was it? Is that where? Is that where? Brilliant.
Yeah, I did a lifetime of partying in about 10, 11 years. And man, I was good. I was a pro. I was really, really good.
You were done then. You'd done it.
Yeah, you know, but
Good man.
Well, yeah, no, I think there'll be there will be some places that I can no longer visit because of those things. But
but there is for me, and I'm still drinking. So
you guys, you guys have I like that you have thoughtful vacations. You know, how about like your perfect date? Now, like I said, you guys are kept men, but
Clive's my perfect date.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. Always lovely to go.
Yeah, where if you've got a night out, Clive, money's no expense or no issue.
I think
it'd be me.
Always with Andrew, where it makes everywhere beautiful.
Oh my God. You're the perfect team.
No, yeah. But eating anywhere in Europe, you know, I mean, Spain, my brother-in-law and my sister live in a place called Parcent in Spain, which is near Benidorm, which is the opposite to where Andrew was talking about Morocco. But Benidorm is a real home for British tourists, but it's a funny place because they made a whole series out of it. They made a whole TV show in the UK about Benidorm, and it's one of the funniest shows ever. And it's Brits on holiday. You know, if you want to see it's not bad behavior, but it's not great behavior. It's the way we are, some of us, when we go on holiday, you know. And but eating out in the countryside in Spain or in France and like
beautiful.
We went one time for a meal with my brother-in-law and my sister to this place, and it was up in the they live in the wine region. There's a bodega right near them, and you sat there having your dinner, and the collecting the grape, you know, the tractors are going around collecting the grapes, and there's people picking the grapes off, and it's just fantastic. So you got the scenery, and you can see it all going on while you're eating and stuff. It's fantastic.
And also, I had a holiday with my brother a couple of years back in Greece, and Greece, I've been going to Greece for years, from probably being about 20, 21. I remember I went to Israel. For about 3 months. I decided I was going to be a photojournalist, and it was prior to the war between Israel and the Lebanon. So I went there and I thought, I'll do this. I'll be a photographic, And I ended up coming back through Greece. And I remember staying there for a while, and I went to a few of the islands, I can't remember, Rhodes and somewhere else, and realized that in Dark Side of the Moon was written in Rhodes.
I didn't know that.
And I visited where Pink Floyd used to live and stuff like that. And it's a beautiful island, you know. And the food there, just incredible.
Oh, I love it.
It's where the Guns of Navarone was filmed there. Rhodes.
Was it?
Really?
Yeah.
This is wonderful. I feel like this is a nice cultural upgrade here.
Yeah.
Amanda says food.
But what I wanted to say as well before was the Morocco thing. I forgot this part. Was the hotel Fontainebleau or whatever it's called. Yeah, well, French, and they speak French in Morocco.
Français.
It's a French colony, wasn't it? It was a French colony. Was that for years, Hendrix and Jim Morrison, I think, lived on the top floors there of the hotel.
Wow. At the same time?
Oh, no, Jimmy Page it was.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. Now that...
Jimmy Page and Hendrix
Wrong Jimmy.
lived at the top
Yeah,
floor.
right. You know, they all those Jimmys look the same, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wrong
You always got a Jimmy.
Right.
So sorry to cut you down and finish my Morocco story.
No, I was that sort of seems like date, memories, but
Yeah.
I I knew that Andrew, you were like a punk rock guy back in the day. Are you like Sex Pistols or Ramones?
Pistols.
All right, Sex Pistols.
Yeah, I like the Londonness of the Pistols when I was that age. I thought it's great. They're like, they're from the capital. They're like kicking it out. Yeah, and the Clash, obviously.
As were Clash. Yeah.
Sex Pistols or Clash? Can you pick?
Clash.
Going back. Oh, I don't know, Sex Pistols for me, but going back to Ramones, I went to see the White Riot tour at the Apollo in Manchester, the Clash.
Wow.
And before they came on, they played Rocket to Russia, the Ramones, and it's the first time I'd heard Ramones.
Okay.
So, of course, next day I'm out at the record store and I actually buy Rocket to Russia, and it was one of the most played albums at that time. Must have been 76, 75, 76, just as I'd left school.
Wow.
And it was good.
You guys got to see so much amazing music coming up where you were at. You talked about just brand new, like you mentioned Paul Young being there, and downtown Julie Brown, when she met Paul, I believe in the Dominican Republic, we did one of those 80s in the Sand events.
Yeah.
No, it's a different Paul. It's a different Paul Young, Kevin.
Yeah, there is two Paul Youngs now. This is where it gets a little bit confusing.
Okay.
The guy I worked with a Paul Young, who lived in Hale, and he has the blue plaque outside his house because he was in Mike and the Mechanic. He was this singer. What? He's got
the blue plaque outside.
Yeah, it's a historical place.
You probably got. I bet your mum and dad have got one of you for you out there.
They should.
We have got a blue plaque outside of Old Meadow Lane. Yeah, and no, we haven't. But I'd refuse the blue plaque, don't you? That'd have to
go for a red one, obviously.
I'd have to go for the red. But anyway, Paul Young was in Mike and the Mechanics, and previous to that, he was in a band called Sad Cafe, who were not big.
They were brilliant.
Who were absolutely brilliant, and if the marketing-wise, if they'd have been marketed properly, they would have been big here as well. But I started working with him. He's a local lad, about a mile away from where I lived, and we used to go to the same pub called the Griffin in a place called Bowden, and really lovely guy. And I started working with him, writing songs, and then a great weird story. This one because he picked me. He had a big yellow Triumph motorbike, massive bike. And one day he came to pick me up. He called me. He says, "Do you mind if I come and pick you up?" And my friend's got a problem because I've always been into computers and fixing computers and stuff. He picked me up on his motorbike, put his spare helmet on, got on the back, driving me to his place. And then we drive through Bench Hill in Wythenshawe. And he points, he says, "That's where I was born," pointed to his house where he was born. So I go to fix this computer. He drops me back off at the house. And then another friend of mine came the next morning. He said, "Paul died last night." So he took me on his motorbike, showed me where he was born, and he died on that very night. I would have never have known where he was born. But that was just as I'd started working with him. And there was all that. Weirdly enough, they were friends. The Paul Young that I know, and there was he was friends, and there was never any kind of rivalry over the name and stuff. There was always they always accepted the fact that the Paul Young, the solo artist that is Paul Young, accepted the fact that there was a Paul Young in Sad Cafe who was also he had his own solo stuff as well. But it's but great seeing the other guys. Great.
I was going to say, I bet that was fun when Paul Young went out with Paul Young for a drink.
Right. Yeah.
They both got the credit card, and they both got the credit cards out.
Oi, Youngie.
Yeah.
No. But the thing is, you give it to the girl and say, and she probably went, "Oh yeah, Paul Young," and then he goes, "No, I'll get it," and he goes, Paul Young. Hold on a minute. What's going on here?
I'm gonna change my name to Lady Gaga. That way, everything I release is just gonna be huge.
Yeah.
You know, Amanda Levis was asking about our favorite venue or city played. I did ask that earlier. I talked about the favorite venue that we played with Lost 80s. I'm curious to know, is there a place, like a venue that's a bucket list for you guys that you need to play before you die?
Well, it has to be Rome. It has to be the amphitheater in Rome, doesn't it? Wow. Or even the Bernabeu, the stadium, you know, the football stadium, you know, in Rome.
The Bernabeu's in Spain.
That'll do. That one as well. Bernabeu.
Bernabeu's Madrid's ground, isn't it?
I've been so everywhere. It's Bernabeu the
Real Madrid's ground?
Let me just Google it. No, you're right. Whatever the other one is in Italy, in the Roman. Who's the Roma? The Roma's football ground. Because there was talk of us playing at that place one time.
I might get Jez to Google it now.
You know what? You don't need Google. We've got Cave on here in the chat, actually. So the Cave on can answer anything.
Cave on won't know. Cave on won't know. You don't know a hockey stick from a football.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. When in Rome. So when in Rome members play in Rome, that'll be that's where this full circle happens, right? So
I'll tell you a quick funny story. I'm sorry to cut you down, Kevin, but
no, you're good.
I remember when we got signed by Virgin, Clive and I always said, "Yeah, we got to get a photo session in Rome. Got to get a photo session in Rome. Got to do a video in Rome. We got to do a video in Rome." And I went, "Yeah, definitely, brilliant." They sent us to South London and did a photo session in an Italian-looking arcade.
Well, you know what? Vienna was done in the video for Vienna Ultra Vox was no, it was Covent Garden. It was made in Covent Garden, all in black and white, and it looks like Vienna.
Yeah.
So
God,
yeah.
I'm a
Doesn't matter where you're from.
Song.
Beautiful.
Kayvon says it's Stadio Olimpico is where he's
Roma's ground. Apparently,
that's where we're playing. Stadio Olimpico. I like it. That's the place. It's only because I couldn't announce that the one that I called it Bernabeu.
I'll take Red Rocks. Red Rocks. I'll take that's the one.
Oh, Red Rocks.
Yeah. I do Red Rocks. Red Rocks.
Man, you know, the questions that I had from a few people asking about the perfect date and the vacation, we just don't get that opportunity to really share that with fans, right? I mean, for you and I, like the three of us, this is the kind of stuff that you and I'd be hanging out talking about backstage, you know. But I'm grateful that technology's given this opportunity, right? For me to get to connect with you guys and for these guys to be able to, you know, catch up with this. I know that there are a handful of dates that are potential. We lost Andrew. He said, we're talking shows again.
That's it.
But I think, you know, without trying to speculate, I'm really, really missing the friendship, the camaraderie, you know, that we had. I mean,
absolutely.
It's such an amazing feeling for us as the band members, but you know, there's so many people here in the chat that miss seeing you play, and not just Kayvon, right? But
It's weird that we're actually enjoying it more now than we did back in the day. I think it's because we didn't really have a chance to, you know, back in the day we were just thrown into a club, picked up at the airport, thrown into a club, do a little bit of a sound check, get back to the hotel, go and do that. But we didn't really get much chance to do stuff.
Right.
But now, of course, in our older years, we kind of take it, you know, we're able to relax a little bit more. We can think about relaxing rather than thinking, oh, you know, we've got to be so, you know. Yeah. We've got more chat time between gigs and stuff, so it's you know, thankfully we're still at it, and and I would say for myself, I'm enjoying it more now. I'm enjoying more being on stage now than I did back in the day because I was a little bit shy and stuff. So it was back in the day, yeah. Andrew used to do all the talking back in the day. I couldn't speak on stage. I was very shy. I'm very. You know, I was into the studio, being in the studio more than playing live, and because I'm, you know, as I said, you know, I like the recording side of things more than used to like the recording side of things more than the live side of things. So it's taken me a long time to kind of come out of my skin as far as being on stage and being comfortable, and I feel more comfortable in front of a bigger audience. Than a smaller audience, you know, when it's 50. Although, you know, when it's different, I guess, for all different places. But Ed Sousa's gigs, for instance, the intimate one, is that one. I thought, God, you know, we're going to be in front of just 100 people. You know, when there's only 100 people there, there's more chance of people, picking up on things that you might not get correctly or whatever, you might not do or hit the notes properly or whatever. Even though it's less people, it's more people that can hear it.
Right?
Yeah.
You're vulnerable. There's no invisible wall between you and the barricade. But
absolutely,
it's weird. Like those huge shows. If you're playing, a stadium or those outdoor shows where you can just see people to the skyline, you can't see past the first 10 or 15 rows.
No,
anyway,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, the sound of it is what gets me, right? Especially if you've got in-ears and the crowd is louder than what you're singing because they know your song so much. That for me, those are the goosebump moments, man.
Well, I mean, every time with The Promise, of course, you hear the audience pretty much on level with us, and it's always a massive honor that they know the lyrics more than we do. Fantastic. Or as much as we do.
Kayvon knows not only the lyrics, but he knows every detail that was written in the songs, where you were at when you wrote the song. So it's nice to see him here and chime in.
Oh, absolutely.
Without the answers. I'm sad that we lost Drew, but Clive, I really want to thank you, buddy. It's so great to see you back here. And hopefully, we've got talk of August being back on the road with a bunch of those shows, right? So
absolutely. I think the Greek may have kind of half-heartedly said, that's definitely on at the moment, the Greek.
Yeah, and that's right around Labor Day in September, right?
Yeah. So hopefully it'll all open. I think it will. I think it's just a bit scary at the moment that they can't open it too fast because, of course, if they said tonight everything's over, right, how many people would be celebrating on the streets and how much trouble would there be? So you've got to be careful of, Sure, they're now thinking about how they're going to come because we know we're over it. We know the vaccines are coming. We know that it's all. I think we're in control of it now.
The end is in sight.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of they call it the roadmap in the UK. The roadmap of getting back to normal again.
Have you had a vaccine yet at all?
I've had both of them.
Oh, you did? Okay, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah. God, I didn't really want to start shouting about it all over the internet, but just to seeing as you asked me.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
yes, definitely.
I think the more that we can, it just means it's the faster that we can go back to doing what we love with the people we love.
Absolutely. Well, I'm doing a show tomorrow right at the Dodger Stadium as people are queuing up for the vaccines in the cars because how it's working at the Dodger Stadium. You make your appointment, you go and queue up in right. So I'm actually playing on stage.
No kidding.
For those people tomorrow. Yes, with it's called. What's it called? It's called. I should know all about this, but anyway, if you go on Facebook, it's an event that's happening tomorrow at the Dodger Stadium, and it's in aid of people that can't afford, or have lost money during this time, and it's for people that are all getting, people that are queuing up for the vaccines at Dodger Stadium. So,
what a cool gig.
Up there with Elton John now, mate. I might wear the duck suit.
That's right. I would pay to see that. Hillary Bibikov's asking what time tomorrow again?
We're on at about 5:20, but the whole thing goes on it's actually on today.
Okay.
So in fact, if you want to get a taste of what's going on, it's actually on today. It starts at midday. It's already on its way. So I think there's a lot of virtual bands. Foo Fighters are doing it. Pink's doing it.
Oh, man.
Macy Gray's doing the live. There's virtual ones. Macy Gray's singing with. I think she's singing with Flashback. I'm singing with Flashback Heart Attack.
Oh, right.
And John Easdale.
Nice. Rich on.
Yeah, and so many. If you look at the list of artists that are on, it's all that Oh, and it's actually organised by Linda Perry from Four Non Blondes.
Really?
So she's organised all of this. So it's in it's a charity benefit thing for people that may have lost or have had hard times during this pandemic and stuff. So
that is
all
awesome,
for a good cause.
Good for you, man. I'm not surprised, but I'm proud of you for doing it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Hopefully we can all get out there. We'll get our vaccines, and do you know if Andrew's vaccinated?
No, I don't think he is. I don't know whether he's.
I know the UK.
In UK's weird. I don't know what's going on in the UK, but I think they've had more doses. They've had more vaccines, but are not seem to be able to get them to people.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things though with the vaccine, if you really want to get the vaccine, you get in touch with your local whoever your health provider is.
Yeah,
and they will provide the vaccine. You know, you can't just wait for it to come around. I think you have to contact your, you know, everybody expects that all teachers are getting them right now, but they're not. They have to contact their health providers and everything else. But you know, hopefully everybody will. You know, even say again.
Go to your pharmacy. Most pharmacies right now have a QR code that you can scan to find out where you're at in the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think I saw that in CVS the other day, and because it had a notice up saying, sorry, we do not do the vaccine here, because obviously there's been a lot of people going to the local pharmacy and saying, can they do them there? But it's a weird one, because I think you'd imagine that they would do. I mean, I think they did. They sent them out to a certain amount of shops. But with flu, of course, you can get them anywhere. You can get them at any pharmacy now. But I'm sure that would be the case with this vaccine as well.
The end is in sight, though, man. I can't
wait, absolutely. You know. Where's that Mr. Mann?
Oh yeah, well, you know, I think he probably just couldn't handle the banter going back with Kayvon and you and me. But I'm going to just say that if people are in the LA area, get down to Dodger Stadium, get in line, get your vaccine, and watch Clive with flashback heart attack. And I know that in about 2 hours, I think the Spoons are playing a virtual show in Oakville, Ontario right now. So if you go check out the Spoons on their website, make sure that you support them as well. So Gord and Sandy. And
fantastic.
I want to thank everybody here that stuck it out in the chat. This is a great way to start the weekend, man. And I really, really do miss you, buddy. So
thank you. And you. I'm sure we'll be back at it soon.
Yeah, I think it will. Guys, if you're watching this right now in the chat and you've got something other than YouTube, I would request, please, if you could, subscribe to this channel. If you go down to the link below, if you're watching on YouTube right now, just hit the subscribe and then hit the little bell. You'll be notified about more shows. Like I said, just like this sexy man here today, I've got Sexy Beast Tawny Katane on Wednesday. We're going to talk about her iconic time with David Coverdale on the hood of the Jaguars and the Here I Go Again video. And lots more. We got great guests coming up. Dean Castronovo, who you probably all know from Journey. That's going to be a good one for the drummers. And so subscribe to the channel. Go out and hit Farrington-Man, and you can see all the events coming up for When in Rome members, Clive and Andrew. And I hope you all have a wonderful, healthy, happy weekend. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Clive, thank you again, buddy. And everybody, have a great